Here is the 2025 Toyota Camry SE with the XP package and the Toyota Crown Platinum. Is more horsepower, less MPGs, and a more sport-derived drive going to be a better option than getting an SE or XSE for the Camry? I'm going to give you 3 reasons why I would pick one over the other. I'm Anthony from Hawkeye Rides, starting with the Crown. You're talking near $20,000 more than the SE trim. So we're gonna start off with the Camry. By LED headlights and daytime runnings on the SE and the LE, that's going to be standard with the projection bulb. When you go into the XSE and the XLE, you're getting dual projected LED headlights. Over 5 inches of clearance, the XP package. That's gonna be a little bit over $2,600. What does it entail? Blacked out Toyota badging, the side accent lighting that goes into the sport mesh grille. The SE will have the matte black for the interior of it. And when you go into the XSE, it'll be a gloss black. The side splitter is also part of the SE and the XSE. That package also includes these upgraded 19-inch wheels, which would be standard 18-inch wheels. And when you go into the LE, you get a 16-inch wheel. The XSE will also get a 19-inch wheel. The Camry will sit a little bit lower, whereas the Crown will sit upwards nearly 6 inches of clearance is what you're getting here. And it's more like a compact SUV and a sedan blended with luxury components pretty much derived out of Lexus. Quad LED headlights that goes into the top portion of the grille, Toyota badging on the top, and you're going to receive the sport mesh grille with the gloss black, and the lower is going to have the satin aluminum. This year, you can option a night edition, which will blacken out the aesthetics on the lower and around all of the window trims. The Platinum gets the 21-inch 10-spoke bicolored wheels. The XLE will have a 19-inch wheel with an option for a 20-inch wheel, and now you have 4 trims to choose from this year, similar to the Camry, except for what's housed underneath the hood. You can get the 2.5-liter 4-cylinder, but you'll have 4 horsepower more here, and it's a standard all-wheel drive. The Camry has 2 different power options. A front-wheel drive is what we have with 225 horsepower, 163 pound-feet of torque. Both are going to be paired to the ECVT transmission. The difference is all-wheel drive gives you 232 horsepower. That's going to change your MPGs. Here, we're receiving 48 MPGs for the city, 47 MPGs for the highway, in standard Toyota Safety Sense 3.0 on both, opposed to the Platinum, which is the only way you can get this hybrid max. It's a 2.4-liter 4-cylinder producing 340 horsepower, 400 pound-feet of torque. That's paired to a 6-speed automatic transmission. They ditch the CVT transmission when you go up into the hybrid max. And the 0 to 60 drops by nearly 2 seconds, adding adaptive dampers to the suspension, so it's going to be a little bit more firm. But because it sits up a little bit in the way the seat design is for the front occupants, it's going to be just as comfortable as the sport tuned suspension that's on the Camry. The Crown is the luxury brand known for Toyota. It dates back all the way to 1955. We didn't receive it until 3 years later, and this type of vehicle was meant for detectives and high-end officials. It wasn't until 1989 that the Lexus ES took over the slot, and ultimately the Avalon took over, and then it was replaced yet again by the Crown. Standard LED taillights that go into the Toyota badging, the grille pattern above the Crown script. The lower is where I feel they fell off, because this is the performance variant for Toyota. They don't offer a V6 for the Camry anymore. There's no TRD, there's no GR. You have to go to the Platinum in order to get under 6 seconds when you're in Toyota, and it has to be the Crown. Why wouldn't you have made it more athletic in the back? It looks like a hatch, which is great, but I would have liked it to be a hatch because it lowers the headroom for the rear, and you're getting less cargo capacity because it is a sedan. Whereas the Camry, optioning the SE and the XSE, keeps a little bit of the sport heritage because you're gonna get the diffuser, dual exhaust finishers, a trunk lid spoiler. The gloss black for the Camry badging is the SE. The XSE will get a plate behind it. The Toyota logo badged in black. That's because of the XP package. Standard LED taillights. But for me, I mean, you're talking nearly 20 grand, unless you're really looking for full-blown performance. But the first reason why I would choose the Camry over the Crown is because you're getting a lot more standard amenities for nearly 20 grand less, and you can still option features on each tier. So even if you go into the LE or the SE, you can option a moonroof. The XLE and the XSE options a pano moonroof, and a 360-degree reverse camera is an option. Going into the Crown, you can't get the pano moonroof on the XLE. It starts on the limited trim. Quick release, going into 15.1 cubic feet of storage. You get bag holders here on the front. I've lifted this up so that way you can see we have the spare tire kit, and underneath, for all those fans of a spare tire, you get one with the Camry. Split fold the rear bench, pulling these levers. That's gonna maximize cargo to the new Camry. Quick release, going into 15.2 cubic feet, which is going to be more than the Camry. Underneath the floor, it's going to have a spare tire and split fold the rear bench in the back. And that will increase the cargo capacity to Crown, except for the width will be a little bit less than the Camry. Ten-way power seat adjustment for the driver, 6-way manual seat adjustment for the passenger. This is Soft-Tech seats. It starts off with a cloth seats with manual driver and passenger seat. You can option heated seats on both the SE and the LE. The XLE and the XSE come standard, but ventilated seats is an option on those two, and leather goes up to the XLE with optional memory seats for the driver. 10-way power seat adjustment for the driver, 8-way power seat adjustment for the passenger, leather interior, heated ventilated seats because this is platinum. And for 2025, that's standard on all trims, memory for the driver. For the all-new Camry, no problem with headroom nor legroom. Driver focus setup, which is going to be the same as the Crown, except in this, it's going to be a little bit more sport derived with a little bit more standard amenities for pricing, starting off with dual climate control settings, wireless charging pad. A total of 5 USB ports is going to be found throughout. With the standard 8-inch in the SE, you can upgrade this to a 12.3, wireless Apple CarPlay, wireless Android Auto, Sirius XM, AM, FM, streaming Bluetooth audio. Put it into reverse, and we have a reverse camera. The trajectory does expand out. Click here and that will change it to a fisheye view. 9 speakers through JBL sound system is an option going up the tier. 6 speakers is standard. Heads up display is an option on the auto dimming rear view mirror. LE/SE gets an option for a moonroof. XLE and XSE gets a option for a pano moonroof. Whereas on the Crown, pano moonroof starts on the limited auto dimming rear view mirror, a total of 11 speakers through JBL sound system. The platinum tier has an option for the heads up display, and the driver focus setup is still going to be throughout with 2 screens that are 12.3 inches. Apple CarPlay, Android Auto is wireless on the limited trim and up. Sirius XM, AM, FM, streaming Bluetooth audio, and you have a physical button to turn on and off the sound system. Put it into reverse with a 360-degree reverse camera, full trajectory for the front and the rear. Click here and you can kind of get that fisheye look. And when you click this view button right here, now you have the bird's eye view, which you can see this is the interior. Click it out and that'll be the exterior to expand all around the vehicle. Standard dual climate control settings as a wireless charging pad, and you're going to have the gloss black filter in through. The key fobs are going to be identical, except one will say Crown and one will say Camry. This opens up as a 2-tier with a storage pocket, USB port 12 volts, a total of 5 as well. But I do like how it's a little bit more usable this way. And the way the dashboard design is, it comes more or less out of the Lexus parts bin. Digital gauge reader, it is fully customizable. In the center, you can change everything out for those little blanks there, including turn-by-turn navigation, different settings for your safety features, tire pressure monitor, and so forth and so on. Leather wrap steering wheel heated, multi-function with the paddle shifts, and the leather wrap is standard on all trims. Headroom is actually going to be a little bit more tight, as well as leg space. dashboard and door configuring together, and it's going to be soft only in the areas it needs to be. One touch up and down for all the windows with a smaller storage pocket. And the Camry is going to have about the same size storage, except you're going to have soft materials here that brush into the dash. One touch up and down for all the windows. Leather wrap steering wheel. And the gauge cluster is a 7-inch informational display that can go through an array of information for the driver. You can option the 12.3 digital gauge reader on the SE. It's going to be more sporty, opens up into a longer storage pocket with a 12 volt, and you have your sport mode, driving mode, and normal mode. For the back seats, headroom and leg room. Storage behind both of the front seats, air vents, USB ports, cup holders with an armrest. The door is going to have no soft materials. You're stripped of the pattern, but you have kind of that look because they have to put the harder materials around it, and it's going to have a smaller storage pocket. Sliding into the center, feet space is going to be perfectly fine, as well as butt, leg, and shoulder space. You will have to scoot down a bit, but it's not going to compromise knee space that much because you have a pretty decent amount of headroom, even though it is going downwards in the center. For the crown, headroom, not going to be an issue. It's actually carved out with a solid line behind the panel moonroof. Leg space, same thing, and you're going to have storage as well with air vents, USB ports, cup holders with armrests. And the door is going to have soft materials where it needs to be, except standard heated rear seats for 2025. The Limited and Platinum would be the only trim that you could get it for 2024. Storage pockets. Sliding into the center, feet space is not an issue. Butt, leg, and shoulder space is not as well. I'm at 6'3". I will have to scoot a little bit, so it's going to compromise knee space. Headroom, because I have to sit back, it's going to be a little bit more cramped. It's a little bit more luxurious, but is it worth over 20 grand more of a premium? Sport, S Plus, Engage. When you have to say nearly a sentence, that tells you what you're getting underneath the hood for performance. 340 horses. With 400 pound-feet of torque, that's a 0 to 60 around 5.7 seconds, which is nearly 2 seconds quicker than the 2.5 liter 4-cylinder. Now with this traffic, it's going to be hard to navigate and show some of the performance, and it is rainy. But this is standard all-wheel drive, so look at the maneuverability. Oof. Man, she just takes off. Composed, Toyota Safety Sense 3.0, checking the lanes. It literally is showing me the third lane instead of the middle lane that I'm in. You sit up high because of that compact SUV feel, even though this is a raised up sedan, and a lot of that also is because of the seat settings for the front, but that does make it a little bit tough for the back. Hard braking, you can stop on a dime. No one else is stopping, obviously. Some fun facts about the Crown is this came out back in 1955. It was introduced in 1958 in the US. This was a police and kind of like an undercover or government official vehicle. They did 4 generations of this vehicle, ultimately stopping at 1972, and then now replacing the Avalon. So you can see the expand that Toyota is doing on the luxury line, but then throwing the performance, because when you're thinking last year we had a TRD Camry and we also had an Avalon TRD, which the V6 engine variant, they didn't do anything to the engine for performance. So this hybrid turbocharged 4-cylinder, they've done a lot of tweaks to it. So you have the hybrid technology for the rear wheels, the turbocharge underneath the hood, and I mean, no more CVT transmission either, pairing it with a 6-speed automatic transmission as well as adaptive dampers, so it's going to be smooth. Check it out. I mean, you're gonna get a 0 to 60 ticket in a 45 mile per hour speed limit zone quick, because this thing takes off. Everybody behind me is a dot, and yet this is a family-driven vehicle, and you're still accomplishing 29 MPGs for the city and 32 MPGs for the highway. That is pretty impressive. It's going to take me to some pros and cons, though. The pros to the vehicle is the performance. You're getting some luxury amenities from Lexus inside. The drive is going to be butter smooth, similar to a Lexus, but on the cons, the materials isn't as soft as a near 60 grand price tag should emphasize. You still have to option features which will take you over 60 grand. You have to go into the limited tier in order to get a pano moonroof, and you can only option this engine near 60 grand. So it makes it a sweet spot in the sense of performance, but then it takes away from the vehicle too, because now you have to pay prices that could put you in a different vehicle. And now for the Toyota Camry, this is the SE. We have the XP package. This has the sport tune suspension, which is why I'm comparing it against the Platinum trim. I understand they have an XSE, however, it's not going to change anything with performance, and we have the upgraded 19-inch wheels. Really, it's going to be interior and a couple of specs on the exterior that it changes out. All trims will be standard with Toyota Safety Sense 3.0, which is awesome, because that is a huge upgrade from the prior gen. Quietness in the cabin, I feel they could have tightened up some of the sound deadening a little bit more so, since this is a refresh. I do like that they are optioning better MPGs in the vehicle, and even with the sport tune suspension with 19-inch wheels, it's still comfortable. The big problem that I have with this compared to the Crown is power, because they give all the power to the Crown and they just basically make this a hybrid, which it's still good and it's still powerful enough. It can get to 0 to 60 as quick as most of the traffic on the road, and really you're not looking for something like a TRD, so it's going to be a little bit more athletic with the V6. But even with that, they didn't change anything other than suspension tuning, braking upgrades, and just a few things on the exterior for styling. They gave the same powertrain as a regular V6 last year, but it would be nice to see either a TRD or a GR, so that way it would be more performance driven. You get a lot of standard features, and then when you're thinking about price compared to the Crown, I mean, you could be saving anywhere from 15 to over 20-some thousand dollars, making it almost a his and her whenever you're thinking about going into an LE without any features at all, just a base trim. And that leads me to why I would choose this over the Crown, is because the overall value in packages that you get just make this a bargain deal, even comparing it against competition. Unless you're talking about Hyundai or Kia, this is going to be the least expensive for a hybrid trim vehicle with great MPGs and more standard features. Now, on the con to it, all of the vehicles will look similar except for some trim base on the exterior, upgrades to the wheels. The sport tune suspension doesn't really change a lot of the drive, with plenty of room in the interior, opposed to the Crown where it becomes a little bit tight for somebody my dimensions at 6'3" in the back.